right. I forgot to fix that with the music. But at least you can hear us. That was an abrupt ending to the music. Sorry for that, but we are in a very special occasion today, since we're in the same studio.
We can touch each other.
Yes, and I don't even have to use my headphones. It's the second time in a short span that we've been in the same studio.
Yes.
We recorded a commentary track for The Empty Man for our Patreon subscribers in this studio. But today we're doing a regular episode, so welcome everybody. Welcome everybody in the chat.
Welcome. Hello.
And today we're talking about A Quiet Place Part 2.
Yes.
And I haven't even said the Spoilercast, right?
No, welcome
to
the
Spoilercast.
Your host, Tobias, as usual.
Yes, and my sister and trusty co-host, Rebecca.
Hello. Welcome.
So,
Great start.
Yes, way back in April or May of 2020.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, we were gearing up to go see A Quiet Place Part 2 and actually made a retro episode of the Spoilercast where we talked about Part 1. Because, next week we're going to do Part 2. But then the restrictions and the quarantines hit Sweden with full force. And, of course, the movie got delayed worldwide anyway, so...
Yes. I was trying to see if I had it in my calendar still, but I might have been May 22nd, but I'm not entirely sure, because I had a free day. I'd taken a day off there, apparently.
Yeah, because we were going to go see the marathon, which never happened.
No.
And that was kind of interesting, because... John Krasinski went out with that video on Twitter and Instagram, whatever, where he said we're gonna delay the movie so everyone can see it safely. But our tickets were still valid after that, and it was still up on the Swedish cinema website thing.
Yep.
It wasn't until
the same
day before.
No, the same day, that morning.
Oh right.
We got an email saying that because we're members, so every member got an email we're closing down every theater in Sweden for the foreseeable future, basically.
So just what the fuck?
I think we were wait, but the screening is a special one. Are you still closing down that one? I think we even called them or emailed them or something. They're like, yeah, sorry, it's
yeah, because they weren't specifically shutting down all the cinemas, but they were shutting down that screening.
Yeah. Right, yes.
But it was shortly after that they closed every cinema.
Yeah.
But, fast forward a little more than a year, and we have finally seen A Quiet Place Part 2.
Finally. Not a special screening this time, unfortunately.
No, but it was IMAX.
It was IMAX at least.
That's okay.
Good enough.
And I can't, since it's a year ago, I can't really remember what we said.
About the first one?
Yeah, but I do remember that my review of the movie, which is on this channel, from 2017, right? 2018? So. Something like that. When the first movie came out, I wasn't super positive about it. I liked it overall, but I thought it did it shortchanged some stuff. So I called it an honorable failure, because I really enjoyed the fact that it's a completely new idea. Mm-hmm. I mean, more or less completely new idea.
It's
not a book.
Story,
it's not a comic book or a remake or anything.
No.
And that it was John Krasinski directing now, because I like him as an actor for the most part. It was fun to see him direct, and I liked his style of directing.
Yeah.
And was he involved in writing the first one? I know he was involved in writing the second one.
He wasn't solo credited, but he was credited, I think.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, he was involved in the screenplay. Yeah, okay, yeah.
But I think Scott Beck and Brian Woods are the creators of the characters, basically.
Yes, because exactly, characters.
Yeah.
But then the only writer actually
is the only writer
for the
second
this one,
yes.
Right? I liked his style of writing. It was it's wrong way to put it, but it was it felt a bit conservative in its politics, so to speak. Not politics, but
in general,
the family dynamic.
Yeah, compared to a lot of other horror movies where you have a bunch of teenagers and a bunch of love triangles and stuff always somehow involved. Yeah. Here you have a basic family dynamic where there's no there's no love drama.
No, yeah.
So in that sense, yes, it is a bit conservative.
Let's, instead of saying conservative, because that has a negative connotation, old-fashioned.
Yes.
Because you had the mother
It's
and
very
the father.
simple in that sense.
Yeah. And just the fact that, they're carrying a child in this environment, like today's Gen Z and millennial generations, they're very like, oh, pregnancy, whatever, even like in regular settings. But in a setting like this, I would have aborted that baby.
Yeah.
Which they didn't.
No.
I appreciated that.
I'm trying to like remember if we talked about it back then, but because when they figured out that they were pregnant, had this already gone down? Like, did they get pregnant while the monsters were there?
Yes, because
That's very irresponsible of them to even
Yes, and I know that was the thing I didn't like about it the first time I watched it. They're kind of irresponsible, specifically in the beginning of the first movie, with leaving the youngest child to walk last for some reason.
Yeah, stuff like that.
But then it's a child, so you don't want to some people value a child even before it's born. So.
But don't have unprotected sex then.
Maybe it was an accident.
Yeah, I guess.
Either way, and it adds a lot of tension because she has to deliver the baby during an attack. So maybe that's why it's also
she has to deliver it in a place where there has to be no sound, and trying to deliver a baby quietly seems
which
impossible.
is one of the most intense scenes of that movie.
Yes.
So maybe that's why also.
Yes, obviously.
But it was just like it felt like a little more old fashioned, a little more like, I don't know, Midwest heartland America.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that. I have nothing against progressive cinema at all, but it was nice to see something more throwbacky.
Yeah.
So I did definitely like it more the second time I watched it for the podcast. Even like really liking it. I still saw some faults with it, but
I remember liking it a lot and barely seeing any faults with it, to be honest.
But then fast forwarding to the sequel, and maybe because I now appreciate the original more, I'll just say it, I loved the sequel.
Yes, thank you.
I might go so far as to say it was better. Once again, maybe because I learned to love the first one. Because the first one has gotten better reviews, though.
Yes.
But both are very high, because the first one has an 82 on Metascore, and the sequel has 71. But I mean, it is a sequel, so some will say, no, it's just derivative. But I gotta say...
No, I don't think it's derivative. I think it's a perfect continuation of the story from the first one.
It's a sequel that is validated.
Yes, it's not needed, but it's definitely valid.
Yeah.
Like, you could obviously just let your imagination tell you what happens next, but it's nice to be shown it, and it's not in a bad way. It's not repeating too much.
No,
it's not being the same situation in a different place.
And it is
which a lot of sequels are, unfortunately, specifically horror sequels.
Yeah, where they just want to recreate the first one, so
they just change the scenery.
Buck. Yeah,
and make the same movie again, basically.
Every Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
At least like the first 4 are basically the same movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, they expand, or they continue from then. I mean, it literally picks up like
seconds.
Like minutes. Yeah, seconds or minutes after the first one ends. Because we do see that there's been a bigger battle going on.
Yeah, but we do see
because she shoots one in the end of the first one.
Yeah, and then we see all of them swarm towards the farm.
Yeah, and you do see a couple of bodies.
Yes.
When they leave the basement.
Well, when the daughter, what's her name? Millicent. What's the character's name?
I don't remember. Marcus. They basically.
Regan.
Yeah.
They never say the names.
Say it, right?
Because they never speak.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't. Because I mean, if you're in a family and you don't speak, you just sign. You rarely sign the name because saying the name is to get the person's attention. You don't need that when you're signing. So
yeah, exactly.
I don't think we actually knew that the kid's name was Marcus in the first movie.
I had no idea.
I don't think they said it ever.
Yeah, but so it picks up like minutes after the first one. Well, technically it starts with a flashback.
Well, yeah, but the story.
Day one. But yeah, when the story starts up.
Yes, exactly where the first one ended.
But yeah, and there we also see that she's not pregnant on day one, so she has become pregnant.
Well, she
during
could be
the invasion.
Very early in her pregnancy, where it doesn't show.
No, because the baby is born on like day 400 something.
Yeah, that's true, something. Yeah.
So she couldn't have been pregnant.
No, that's true, that's true.
But yeah, and the story is basically, well, the place where they lived is ruined because there's bodies everywhere and the barn is burning and
chaos has
their
ensued.
father died here, so how about we leave?
Yeah.
And the story's pretty easy. They meet up with other survivors, I suppose.
One specifically.
Yeah, one specifically.
Yeah.
And then where they expand on the sort of ending in the first one is that the idea that what was her name? Regan?
Daughter, Regan.
Regan's hearing aid can create that frequency that makes
feedback frequency that the monsters don't like.
Yeah, so they open up their armor things so you can
shoot them.
You can basically poke them in the head and kill them, which we see later in the movie.
Apparently she does stab, sort of, but it does look like she's doing it this way. I don't know.
But they're all smushy in there,
yes.
So that's why they have the exoskeleton.
Smushy.
Yeah, with the help of this new survivor, played by Cillian Murphy. It's Cillian Murphy.
Okay.
They
or Emmett, as he is called in this movie.
Yeah, they try to figure out a way to send out that frequency to the world, basically.
Yes, or at least to America, because I'm assuming it's contained to America.
Maybe, I don't know. So and
I'm only assuming that based on the fact that they figure out that an island is actually safe.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but so in the flashback we I don't know.
What are you trying to say?
I don't know. I want to say we find out who Emmett is.
Yeah.
Because they meet up with Emmett, who's like a neighbor, basically.
Yes.
Even though they live very far away, but in neighboring areas.
They live in the same town,
yeah.
So everyone knows everyone in this town. Obviously, by just having John Krasinski's character Lee walk into the grocery store, grabbing stuff and saying, "I have to hurry," and he's like, "Yeah, you can pay me later."
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and we also see supposedly where the monsters come from. They come from asteroids or comets.
Yes.
Whatever one is that crashes.
Yeah. Space.
Yeah, the rocks from space. I don't know, because there's one if it's in the atmosphere, it's one when it crashes, and it's one if it's just out in space. They have different names for it, even if it's the same rock.
Meteorite.
Oh, right. That's right. Oh, an asteroid is out in space.
Yeah.
Meteor is in the atmosphere, and a meteorite crashes. So a meteorite crashes.
Yes.
And
well, it looks like that at least.
It could be
technically,
something
it could be
else.
like an alien ship.
Yeah.
Because we only get to see the big ball of fire, basically.
Yeah. And
we see two, though.
Yeah, there's
one big and one smaller.
Maybe they're filming, because we see one on the news, and that might be another one, because that has already crashed, right? No, it hasn't.
No, but it seems to be closer. Maybe there's a bunch of them all over America.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we only get to see very locally what happens.
Yeah, and they talk to the police officer. That's called police officer in the movie.
Yeah, not a lot of names.
Obviously. And he says he crashed over by someone's farm, so it's close by.
Yeah, that farm name, I kind of recognized it and was like, is that the farm that they occupy later on? Because it's not their farm.
I don't know.
As far as I understand.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
But then it picks up, and there's not a lot of story there. It's all very character driven.
Yes.
The characters trying to reason with Emmett, because he says you can't stay here, there's no food, because he has lived in the first movie, they live a pretty idyllic life other than the monsters. I mean, they have a farm, they can go fish,
they have nice food. a new way of life, and it works.
While Emmett seems to have been barely surviving.
Yeah, because I think both his sons died in the first attack.
Yes.
And then his wife got sick.
And eventually was so sick that she started screaming in pain.
Yes.
So he lost everything, and since he's living in a steel mill or something.
Yeah, because he says something on the jacket and his cap.
Yeah. So obviously he's been going from place to place and living off of scraps instead of doing what they did. And he's also ran into other people. And just like in every zombie movie, every post-apocalypse movie,
People are
the actual threat, but here they aren't the actual threat. They're part of the actual threat, but the actual threat is the monsters.
Yes.
Because they're so dangerous here.
But you still have that whole people do whatever they have to do to survive.
Yeah, so he says that there are no people left worth to save, yeah. Except for them, of course, because it does help them.
He learns to...
Yeah, and that's part of it, like finding humanity again.
Yeah.
So the biggest chunk of the movie is him and Regan, Millicent Simmons, going on a sort of road trip.
Yes.
Because they find a radio signal.
Yeah.
And she says, if I can find the source, I can just signal out my hearing aid.
Yeah.
So they go on a road
Which is
trip.
what they hinted at in the first movie. That's what Lee was trying to do. Was trying to find if anyone else was
to amplify
broadcasting, basically, and if there was a way they could then spread information, or when they figure out the whole hearing aid thing, spread that thing.
Yeah.
But since they were in the valley with all the farms,
we find out that
signals didn't reach them properly.
No. Unless you had like a satellite signal, which they didn't.
So when they get out of the valley, when they start hiking out to find somewhere else to live, and they meet up with Emmett, all of a sudden they're out of the valley and they can hear the signal.
Yes. And that's basically the plot.
Yeah.
Unless giving away the third act, which I think we won't.
We're gonna try not to.
Yeah. We'll just say this. Jimon Hunsu is in the third act, and he's called Man on Island.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's never introduced properly.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot to do or say.
Unfortunately.
I thought he was going to be key roles in one or two scenes, basically.
He is expository guy.
Yes.
He's Mr. Exposition.
Yes. And then he drives a car.
Yeah.
That's about it.
That's about it, unfortunately.
Which I didn't like. The way they cut the trailer, I thought he would have a bigger part.
Yes, I thought him and Emmett were like a unit. Yeah. But nope.
I thought that maybe the family would run into them together.
Yeah, because
their little family dynamic. Because it looks like in the trailer that Emmett still has a kid.
Yeah.
And Man on Island has his kid.
Another kid. Yeah.
But yeah, the kid on the island that Emmett has is just a random kid that he picks up because he doesn't want it to get eaten.
Yeah.
Which, sure, good for you, but it kind of confused me.
But that's why they cut the trailer that way. Also, they
obviously.
could get Jimon Hunsu's name in the trailer.
And face.
Yeah. Because
because
he has some star power, but
yes.
He's barely in the movie, unfortunately. He's almost in the movie less than John Krasinski, who is in the whole flashback scene and has a big action scene in the beginning.
Oh, can we talk about the beginning, about the flashback scene? God damn, that was good.
Yes. Go ahead.
First of all, I think it's shot a lot in like very long
takes. Yeah,
there was one time where they had to cut, and it was too obvious.
Yes,
I don't know if that was a mistake or they didn't know what to do.
It's a typical thing, especially nowadays when you can like digitally splice long takes together.
But they failed.
It's called digital wipes.
They did a bit of a fail, though.
Yes, it was very obvious.
Yeah, like you said, even I noticed it. I was like, what happened?
Usually you do, a wipe could be like at a door frame, or I know one that is, for me at least, one of the best ever is in Secret Window. Because the first like 4 or 5 minutes, it's just Johnny Depp sitting in a car, and the camera is fixed on the hood, looking into the driver's seat. And he goes back and forth, talking about his wife. And then when he steps out of the car, the camera swings around and follows him into the motel room where his wife is.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't just have a loose camera on the hood.
No.
So that one was mounted, and then they cut and did a shot where the cameraman just held the camera by the hood and then moved it away. But it's snowing, so he has the windshield wipers going. In one of the wipes, it switches. Ooh. It's literally a digital wipe.
That sounds clean.
Yeah. If you look really closely, you can see it.
Yeah.
But it's
Unfortunately, in this one, it's kind of almost like it feels like there was a flash in the car window.
Yes,
or
because
something.
He's walking from his car, which is one long take around the street, but then they cut in the store, of course.
Yeah.
But then out of the store, back to the car is one long take again, getting into the car.
And
getting out of the car.
Right, yeah. It's when he gets...
No, it's later, because, sorry, it's not when he's buying the fruit, it's later, but it's the same movement, that's why.
Yeah.
It's when they're going from the baseball game,
yes,
Marcus's
when they're running
game.
from the baseball game towards his car, when he Reagan...
He puts Reagan in the car, so then it goes into the car, or, like, out on the hood.
Yeah.
And then he gets out to talk with the cop.
Yes, because he pulls up right behind them. He's like, oh, wait, I'm going to go talk to him. So that's when he steps out.
He opens the door, so it's open, so that when the camera moves from the hood across the door,
that's when
it wipes. And I think it's even a, like, digital door.
Maybe it is.
Visual effects door.
I just realized that because it looked kind of like a flash in the window of the car.
Unfortunately.
But
then it did splice, because then it's one long take. Excuse me. Him talking to the cop.
Yes.
And like other cars driving by, and him running back to the car, because then the monsters land. So
it's a lot of long takes, and it looks it's so, because it kind of hits you it goes from 0 to 100 in like a split second.
Yeah.
Because they notice it just as Marcus is about to do his third swing on the baseball pitch. Mm. And everyone's like, okay, no, let's go home. Let's just... Everybody out.
Yeah, this is a huge comet. Meteorite.
And everyone gets the kids, and they start walking, and then they realize, oh, well, we have 2 cars. So they separate the family, I mean. And I think, like, from the pitch to the car, when the first get in the car, is one long take.
I think so, yeah.
And up until that scene, it's... kind of calm. People are like, when you're kind of stressed, like, oh, what the hell is going on? Mm. But as soon as he's talking to the cops, that's when the first car flips.
Yes.
That's when, straight away, it just amps up, everyone's screaming, everyone's dying, everyone's running around. It goes from 0 to 100 in that snap.
Yeah.
And it's just so intense, and I love it.
And it's good also, because usually there's videos about this, like, long takes nowadays is basically just, haha, look what I can do.
Yeah.
But here it makes sense, because... there's long takes of him just walking into a store, walking over to the game, walking back to the game. Nothing really interesting happens, but it helps to immerse you.
Yes.
Because right away, it's not like a bunch of like, cut. No, we're just there with them.
Yeah, because it's a normal day. It's supposed to start on a normal day with just a neighborhood baseball game going on. Everyone's there. It's like neighborhood cookout, basically. Yeah.
Ooh, and there's a very important plant for later in the movie.
Oh, you mean the...
Because Emmett he yells at his older son.
I think so, yeah.
To dive for the plate.
Yeah.
And then he asks Regan, how do you sign dive? And she shows it's...
just dive.
And that comes into play a little later. And I was like, yes!
I have to be... Because do you remember what I said just before he did that? If I was her, I would just jump in the water.
Yeah.
And then seconds later he goes, oh, yes, I was right.
Yeah. But yeah, so when all hell breaks loose, it hits you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, and it's everywhere. You see the monsters just from every single angle. Even though you don't see a lot of them at the same time, they just pop out of nowhere and disappear, and then pop out of nowhere and disappear.
Yeah, 'cause they're so fast.
They're so fast, and they just... fly around. And even though you've seen the bus scene in the trailer,
yes, that's part of
it was still, holy shit, it's actually happening.
And it's a good because at first because Regan and Lee, John Krasinski and Millicent Simmons, they hide out in a bar or something.
Yeah, because they
get out of the car.
They get out of the car because they see...
can't start it.
They can't start it first, and then they see that Evelyn and the other kids, their car actually passes them, and like this kind of, it doesn't flip over, but it kind of like turns around.
Yeah.
And Millicent then she walks out, tries to run to them, but a monster lands on the car.
Oh,
so
right, yeah. And
John grabs her, and then they run into the bar to hide.
And right away, he's like he's telling her to be quiet. And telling everyone else in there to be quiet. And I was like, how does somebody be quiet? But then I realized, of course, you're going to try to stay quiet if you're hiding.
If something's chasing you, you stay quiet and hide.
Yeah. And then we see that they react very strongly to sound because a lady's phone starts ringing. Off, yeah. She's talking to her mom and it cuts off.
Yeah, and then the mother calls back. Yeah.
And then it just goes berserk.
The funny thing, though, is that it starts chasing them specifically, even though their phone wasn't ringing. But I think they're the only ones who actually is running away.
No, it goes for her first. You see it grab her and just throw her away.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And then everyone who starts running and screaming, it grabs everyone who's screaming.
But then
they're quiet, but they're the last people out of there, so obviously it's following their
and they're
footsteps.
Running, yeah.
Yeah. And then the whole scene ends with the cop trying to kill one of them, but I think he dies.
Yeah, we don't actually get to see that. Really, we see it jumping towards him and him screaming with the shotgun.
It pans down to Noah Jupe or Marcus, and
with his classic almost.
Yeah,
covering his ears.
Covering his ears, and then cut to him doing the same with the baby in his
in the basement,
in the lap in the basement. Yeah,
which is where the first movie ended.
Yes,
when he's hiding behind the furnace with the baby.
Yeah, that opening scene was fucking amazing.
It was spot on what you needed to know from the beginning, and also perfectly segued into where they are, and it explained how they ended up where they were in the first one, and just perfect. Yeah. Perfect. I loved it.
Oh, and then also, it expands on the plot from the first one with them they figuring out that there's a signal we can use.
Yes.
If we can help other people with this signal, they can defend themselves.
Yes.
Then it also expands on every character. Because you have Regan, Millicent Simmons' character. She wants to help. She wants to be like
her dad.
Like her dad, but he is very protective first and foremost because she's his teenage daughter. She's deaf.
Happens to have a disadvantage.
In a word where you need to hear. If there's a monster there, yeah. So that's why he's very protective of her in the first movie. Why she's kind of resentful toward in the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Or right before the end. And he kind of wants Marcus to be the man of the family in case something happens, but he's the younger brother and he's a bit of a scaredy cat. He's a little wimpy. Nothing wrong with that, but he needs to be stronger.
Yes.
And in this movie, Regan definitely takes charge. Not takes charge, but she takes her own initiative. I can do this. When they find the signal, she figures out where the signal is. And, if I can get here, I can help people.
She even, points out that it would only take a couple of days max to get there, because it's a straight shot if you follow the tracks. I think she's the one who's, when they're leaving the farm, she points out in which direction to go, where it should be safe. Yeah, she figures out
where the other fire is.
Yeah, she checks the fires and stuff. She's the one who thinks about going back and getting the amplifier and the microphone so they can continue using that.
Yeah, that's how they kill, we won't see it once, but, they have a tactic now. Just hit the amplifier, shoot in the face.
Shoot it in the face.
Yeah.
And if you shoot it properly in the face, one shot should be enough.
And then we have Noah or Marcus, who was very very scaredy cat in the first movie.
Yes, he's still.
And he continues to be that in this movie. He's someone telling Regan, don't go. We need to stay together.
Yes.
I don't want to be left alone.
Don't leave me, basically.
Yeah. And as she goes off to then, save the day, so to speak, in the end, he is left alone because Emily Blunt, she needs to go get medicine, partly for him, because he injures his leg early in the movie, and also because the baby they have this, the
oxygen tank,
the soundproof box, coffin for the baby. They need more oxygen, so she leaves for the pharmacy where they're in the first movie, the beginning of the first movie.
She leaves basically just to get the medicine, but she's hoping to find the oxygen, I guess. Yeah. And she's like, yes, there's 2 tanks.
Yeah. So and he's left alone with the baby, and of course,
partly
his fault, but monsters appear. And
because he gets a bit curious.
Yes. And
which I don't blame him for.
Yeah. His tactic has always been, run away or hide.
Yes.
But then he has to take initiative. He needs to be a man, even though you're supposed to say that. He needs to be a man and protect
his baby.
His baby. Or not
his baby sibling.
His baby sister?
Do we know what it is? They just call it the baby.
I think... Well, I'm not going to say here. I think it's a girl. It doesn't matter. The baby.
The baby.
Yeah, the baby. His sibling. Oh, boy on island, yeah. And we actually see him fight a monster.
But that's the end, right?
Yeah, it's yes, it is the end.
It
but
is.
It's intercut with because they split up the family. The families. So this is kind of even though it's not really, it's kind of the dark middle chapter.
Yes.
Everyone splits up. So
everyone has their own mission. Only 2 of them are actually put into danger. At first, I mean, Mama Evelyn gets into danger, but that's when she comes back.
Yeah.
So she and Marcus has their combined danger.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, I guess Emily Blunt has the least growing, but I mean, she was already pretty much a full-fledged character in the first movie.
It is obvious that it's the kids that need to be growing.
Yeah.
That need to.
Which I guess is also a smart thing. I don't know if that is it, but if that's smart sequel bait. Because instead of giving you like an Easter egg or like a post-credit scene, you just show that the kids are growing up.
Yeah. See, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I did see on Instagram that the Swedish movie theater company, Filmstaden, they posted an Insta story saying that the third one is already approved and in the making, sort of.
Okay.
But when I pressed the link didn't exist. Oh. So I was like, is that true? I haven't looked it up. I have to look it up now.
Yeah. Yeah, but
because I mentioned to my boyfriend, like, they don't need to make a third one.
No.
I'm not sure I'd be upset about it if it's continuing to be.
No, because they made such a good sequel out of this one.
Exactly.
They'll probably be able to do it again, but don't push your luck, people. Don't.
Yeah, but Digital Spy has posted one.
Ah, damn it.
Cast and everything you need to know.
Oh, well. Well, yeah, even Emmett, who's a new character for this movie, has...
Yeah, John Krasinski already has plans for the third movie.
Well, plans.
Plans.
All right.
We don't know 100%,
so,
but it seems to be very
Please call us, we'll help you with the writing.
Yeah.
Because you need to be careful. It's the third movie. You don't want to fuck up. You've been going it's a steady incline.
Yes.
You don't want to hit the peak and then just fall off.
Because that's something I have to say. His writing and directing is fucking
good.
Awesome.
For this kind of movie, very good.
Yes. I'm a bit interested in seeing what he could do apart from this.
Yeah, like more of a traditional drama.
Yeah, or
without
just
monsters.
Just something else. Because he's literally only done one thing, technically.
Yeah.
This is the same universe, the same story, the same base.
And
so it would be interesting to see if he could...
I think he's only directed this. Maybe some episodes of The Office, maybe?
Yeah, probably. But that's just...
Let's see, director. Yeah, oh, no, one other movie.
The Haulers.
Or whatever that is, The Haulers, whatever that is. Oh, it is another movie, okay.
Okay.
We should...
Which he is acting in as well. But he didn't write that one.
Ooh, it has Charlton Copley? Charlie Day?
Okay, we're putting that on the list.
Putting that on the list, yeah.
Because from what we've seen, we've only seen him do one thing so far, and it would be interesting, though. We need to check that one out to see if he's actually capable of doing other kinds of movies and other movies in general. Because
other than that movie, which just looked like a regular, dramedy.
Yeah.
He's only done, The Office. 3 episodes of The Office.
And brief interviews with the hideous men.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
What is that? But that seems...
It's another movie, okay.
It is a movie.
Wow.
But from the title, I'm assuming it's a lot of interview style, which is what The Office is as well.
Yeah. Because here's all the names.
So I'm thinking it has the same sort of setup as The Office, maybe, with the interviews and then something happens in between, possibly.
Yeah. Anyway,
it would be interesting to see him do another movie of this magnitude, but it's not The Quiet Place franchise.
Exactly.
Because again, the writing and the directing is awesome. The acting from his part in the first one is obviously great because he's a great actor.
Yeah. And
the acting from everyone in the second movie as well is, I can't find anything to complain about, really, when it comes to the acting. I mean, the Marcus character is very shallow still, because he hasn't had a lot of development. He is still just a scaredy cat. It's not until the last few moments in the movie of him that we see him truly able to change and develop.
That is his arc.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call that shallow.
No, but I think that he will, in a third movie, will be even more of a developed character.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Because he doesn't get a lot of space to develop in this one.
No,
it is
it's
Millicent.
Definitely the Millicent Simmons movie.
Regan, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think they more or less have equal time.
Sure, but her story is more progressive and more moving forward. And we did do a comparison in the theater.
Yes, let's start with that, because in 2013 they released a little game called The Last of Us.
Fantastic
game. Very good game. Terrible sequel, but very, very good game.
I still haven't played the sequel.
No, yeah.
I've seen
we bought
playthroughs though.
Oh, you have? Because we bought it. We didn't want to gamble, so we went halfsies on one copy. Played it at your house for like 2 hours, and I was like, I'm done. You want to play anymore? I was like, no.
Nah, not really. But I'm probably gonna try because I still want to play it.
Yeah, I guess at some point.
Again, the sequel is lesser just because it is a sequel. You don't really need a sequel in that case. It's
completely unnecessary.
Yes, and
unlike
the sequel
this movie,
that doesn't really serve a purpose.
Yeah, but that came out in 2013, and A Quiet Place came out in 2017, 2018. I don't know.
You have it right there. It's 2018.
Oh, right, 2018. Sorry. So, and I gotta say, they definitely took some inspiration.
Oh yes.
Yes. From The Last of Us. I mean, it's like the rural kind of mid-America heartland setting. You have a bearded man.
Wow.
You even have the monsters from A Quiet Place are basically the clickers.
Yeah, just in more alien form.
Alien instead of like
humanoid.
Zombified humans. Yeah.
Because you have the same click 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 sound where they like, what's it called? An echolocation. Yeah.
So obviously they took some inspiration from that. This movie, you have a bearded man in Emmett.
Yes.
And a young, kind of tomboyish girl.
Go get him kind of character.
Yeah, Millicent or Regan.
Regan, yeah.
Going on a road trip to find a
safe haven.
A safe haven, basically, which is literally the Last of Us.
Yep.
And they meet monsters on the way, but they also meet dangerous humans on the way, like gangs of raiders and crazies.
In this case, crazies.
Yeah. I know they're making a Last of Us show for HBO.
Yep. Shots from this movie will be exactly the same in that show.
I say without having seen that show, because I'm pretty sure they're going to try and recreate the games. Like, they're going to have Joel and Ellie.
Yes.
And I don't think that's going to work.
I mean,
even though that game is basically one long movie.
Yeah, because that's what we said when we played it the first time. We were like, this is a movie, basically.
I don't think you can... I don't think it's going to translate. I don't think so. It's going to be HBO, so yeah, sure, it's probably going to be pretty good. But I don't think so. I don't think you can. I think The Last of Us, even though it is very cinematic, is a video game. However, A Quiet Place Part 2 takes inspiration from that, but it's its own thing.
Yes.
And that's why it works. I would say this is as close as we're going to get to a Last of Us adaptation. We'll see. I may be wrong.
I'm very optimistic about other video game movies that are coming soon.
Like what?
Like Uncharted. Which is also a game that is very cinematic.
Is that even going to happen?
Yeah, they've started shooting it.
Are you sure?
Yes. I've seen pictures from the set.
They've been talking about that movie since 2013.
Yeah, but no. Tom Holland is Drake.
Oh yeah, I know that.
And he's been fitted for outfits, and I've seen pictures from set and stuff.
Oh, yes, I have seen him in the clothes. It's an actual shot from yes.
So they are playing. I think Antonio Banderas is
oh my god, they're in post production.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, and No Way Home is in post production. That's kind of funny, because they released the teaser, which was just them walking through the Marvel offices.
Oh yeah.
It's like, so the movie was finished, but you didn't want to show us anything? Fuck you.
Yeah.
I don't care, because I didn't watch Far From Home, but, still, for the fans. Anyway, okay, so Uncharted is in post-production.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
He's been a busy boy in the last year.
Yes. Okay, quick tangent then. Let's talk about Uncharted.
Yeah, we're going off track a bit here, but
and
it's
Ruben
fine.
Fleischer directs it?
Yes. Whoa. And Mark Wahlberg's in it.
Well, now I'm very...
I'm not sure who Mark Wahlberg is playing and who Antonio Banderas is playing. That's what confuses me. Because I can't think of two characters that need those two people. I'm thinking they're both the same character.
Yeah, well, no, someone has to play Sully, obviously.
Yeah, but is it Antonio Banderas or Mark Wahlberg?
That's cool. Nolan North is on the set.
Yes.
And that's another thing. Like, going back a little bit to The Last of Us. Like, if you're gonna do a Joel character and an Ellie character, it can't be what's his name? The guy, the voice actors.
Oh, I don't remember him. I don't remember who the voice actors are. I just remember that Ellie looks a lot like Elliot Page.
Yeah, she looks a lot like Elliot Page, but she's played by another, like,
video game actress, sort of.
The Last of Us. Oh, that's the show. All right, Pedro Pascal is going to play
yes.
Joel, right? And this is like, yeah, he's a good actor, but he's not Joel.
No, he doesn't look like Joel.
No. Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson plays Ellie. If they're not in it,
them?
It's not going to be right.
No, possibly. Well,
but that's always the thing with video game adaptations. But usually they don't adapt like good games. I mean, they do good games, but not
these two
games that are so character driven.
Yes, Last of Us and Uncharted as well is very cinematic in its style.
Yeah, and
very character driven.
Yeah, they're very character driven.
So
like,
Mark is Victor Sullivan.
Yeah, because they're doing a little younger version.
Then who does
he's probably a bad guy then.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be the
kind of the bad guy from the first game.
Yeah.
Or the like
the army dude.
Yeah, the left hand bad guy who turns out to be the real bad guy.
Yeah.
Probably something like that.
Chloe's in it.
Yeah, well, another one. Chloe Fraser is it's supposed to be. Let's see if we can see.
No, I can't see much about her like that. But Chloe Fraser is from the. No, is she the newspaper lady?
No, it's the other the dark haired.
Yeah, she's
lady.
the thief.
Yeah, the thief who he knew from before the first game.
Yeah, who's in the second or third game first, right?
Yeah, played by Claudia Black.
Yeah.
And she's in the second, third, and fourth game. No, not the fourth.
And she's
game.
in the
second and third game.
The separate game where it's only the ladies, where Nathan isn't in it.
Right, the
whatever that's called.
Lost something. Good game, actually.
I haven't played that one.
It was good.
Lost Legacy, yeah.
Right. That's another one. Like, she
could
Chloe.
play her.
She basically looks like her. No, but she's probably too old. And obviously she's doing a younger version.
Yeah, because Tom Holland looks like he's 15.
But what I'm saying is, since these games are so character driven, trying to replace them with other actors.
I do remember us when we first played the Uncharted games. We were like, if I would make a movie out of this, who would I cast? I think we said Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, and he was involved.
He was involved
in the
first
beginning. Version of the game.
Yeah.
The first version of the movie.
Yeah, but then it took too long and he got too old.
Yeah.
So they had to choose someone else. And I mean, Tom Holland is a very...
Sure, Tom Holland could definitely work, but...
Because he has the same kind of quip, but he doesn't look like Nate Drake.
No. But Mark Wahlberg is Victor Sullivan? Like, I don't know.
Maybe. If he gets the mustache right.
And whoever Sophia Ali is as Chloe Fraser, I don't know. But I'm cautiously optimistic. Because I've loved every game in that series. So...
I mean, just looking at that picture.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like Nate. I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it.
Oh, we can actually be talking about that picture.
Yeah. I'm not mad about it.
No, it looks a lot like older teen, like 18, 19.
Nate Drake.
Nathan Drake, yeah.
So I'm optimistic, and in that sense, I am also optimistic about the Last of Us movie. Show. Even though it will obviously TV show. It will have a very similar style to probably A Quiet Place 2. Well, some parts of it, but also maybe The Walking Dead.
Yeah, well, that's a problem because I don't like The Walking Dead. I like the first season. But...
Hopefully, though, it won't be as big of a cast. It will stay more like A Quiet Place, where you have a very small core cast.
Yeah, I mean, if it's going to be The Last of Us, it's literally going to be Ellie and Joel and then some people they kill.
Yeah, some fireflies maybe.
Yeah, towards the end.
And I'm a bit, yeah.
But to get this back to A Quiet Place, that is what, instead of just adapting what already exists, get inspired by what already exists and make something new. A Quiet Place is not like unique or or the most like groundbreaking movie ever. It's sequel either. But it's really, really good, and it is its own original work.
Yes, which we always talk about. We always want original work to be, like, the basis.
Yeah. Even if you take a bunch of inspiration, like we talked about The Kid Detective.
Yeah.
Obvious references to old gumshoe and noir movies.
Yes.
But it is its own thing. Yes. A Quiet Place. Obvious references to The Last of Us and other zombie movies.
And so many other, like, dystopian zombie movies.
But it is its own thing. And it's even in the sequel its own thing. It is, like we said, it expands the characters, it expands the world, because we do get to meet other people.
You get to see what's outside of the farm more than just those sand paths. Someone said it, I did check out like a couple of YouTube reviews today just to refresh my memory. And someone said that they literally step outside of the sand.
Yeah.
Because they've never gone further than what the sand paths are.
And that's why we see, when they reach the end of the sand, they stop. And Evelyn just looks at Regan and is like, yeah? And she's like,
we have to.
We have to.
And you see so slowly how everyone gets to take their first step off of the sand, carefully, not to make a sound.
Yeah, which is like both like liberating and super scary.
Yes, and it's so, it's so impactful just because this movie is a very quiet movie, but everything we see visually is so impactful that you can almost hear the sounds even though they're not there. I envisioned like the crunching of the leaves, even if I'm not sure there were crunching of the leaves.
Barely, but
I could hear it even though it wasn't there.
And that's another thing. Even though they obviously do a lot of sign language, but because that is a language that takes longer to speak, because you have to do much more gesticulating to
it's more detailed than just saying a word.
The dialogue, quote unquote, is very sparse.
Yes.
Even like most of it is exposition, of course, because they have to. I'm gonna go there.
Yeah.
But there's so little dialogue. It's just bare bones what you need in terms of exposition and character development. The rest is just action.
Yeah, and I think that's very
wonderful.
It's written very well because it is a product of what they're in.
Yeah.
Because don't speak. That's the thing. Don't make noises. So when they do speak, they choose to only say
exactly what you have to say.
Yeah, the very most necessary words. Much like an episode in The Office when Kevin decides to no longer use unnecessary words. The sentences are horrible, but you do know what he's trying to say.
I haven't seen that one. Okay.
I don't remember which episode. It's one of the later ones, but
I don't know.
It's great.
Like every TV show I watch, I give up on that one.
You should finish.
Every show should finish after like 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so they get very much information done with few words and of course some gestures. They still use, even when Evelyn is talking to Marcus only, when Regan isn't even around, she still uses sign language because it's something that's
it's so. I mean, they did it.
It's so powerful.
They talked like that before the aliens came. So,
and she even in the flashback they use it when he's gonna do his first bat thing swing. He's looking at his mom and she's just signing breathe, and he knows that it means breathe. It's not calm down like everyone says. No. It means something specific. Yeah. So
it's like the first 15-20 minutes of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
When it's just the apes.
Yes.
The conversation is kept to a minimum, and everything is like facial expressions or just actions in general, and it's so good. Yeah. To have a purely visual experience.
It's so basic, but it's so good. And I think it gives the actors more space to act, because they can't rely on the words. They have to show you what they're trying to tell you.
Yeah. So
especially since the audience probably doesn't know sign language at all.
Yeah, like I
like
know. 90%. Well, I know Dive now.
Yeah.
And I knew when they signed Home a bunch of times, and I knew that one. I knew Home.
Yeah, and I think Yes is something like this. I'm not entirely sure. And we learned in the first one that Love is this.
Oh yeah, but that was one of my I had in my head is Home.
Yeah.
And that's too bad for everyone listening to this on Spotify or iTunes. Check us out there if you haven't. I'm signing home for the live stream. Sorry. Anyway.
You can Google what it looks like.
yeah, exactly. Or just watch it on YouTube if you're not watching it already.
Or, watch The Quiet Place and you'll see it there.
Yeah, because,
Because this is definitely a movie I would recommend. Go see it in theaters if possible.
Yes, if possible.
Or at least on a big screen, not on your, phone.
No.
Try to get a
big
TV
screen,
at least.
Even more important, I would say big sound.
Yes.
Because
even though there's not a lot of dialogue, there's not a lot of music, to be honest.
No.
But there's a lot of ambiance.
Just focus on ambiance, yeah, because they have to... Careful, every rustling of a leaf could kill them, so...
And how they manipulate the sound when you're seeing and hearing everything from Reagan's perspective, you get the even more muffled because her hearing aid isn't working perfectly, as we know from the first one.
And I gotta say, I actually, slept on this as well, but... there was this movie that came out last year. No, it came out it was nominated for Oscars this year. Either way, The Sound of Metal.
Yes.
With
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Riz Ahmed, who's the punk or avant-garde drummer. Good movie. I would almost say great movie. Great performance by him because he's always good. But
I know someone else made a liken to that one as well in the review, but I don't remember who it was.
Yeah. But that movie got so much praise for how they made the audience realize what it sounds like to be deaf or going deaf.
Yeah.
And yeah, they do a good job of it there. Definitely. I'm not deaf, but I have tinnitus, which other than the ringing, sometimes your hearing just goes away in one ear, and then it comes back. You just hear the ringing. But you hear the bass tones of everything, the low tones of everything, because that's vibrations.
Yes.
I mean, lower vibrations. Anyway, and that movie does a great job of
recreating that and showing that to hearing people.
And everyone's like, oh, it's so, it won an Oscar for whatever, sound editing, sound mixing, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Obviously, because, it's a movie about sound, so it should. But I forgot that we have a bunch of those kind of scenes in
A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place. They're not as intricate. It's basically just it's quiet.
You hear
it's definitely more detailed in A Sound of Metal, but it's definitely there. A lot of times.
I think it's because it's more of a juxtaposition from what the other family members hear. You hear noises, you hear sounds, you hear voices. Specifically, like when you're at the waterfall in the first movie, there's a lot of noise. But then you cut to what Reagan hears, and it's just. It feels like it's almost just quiet, but there is that low rumble of something in the background, like she can hear the vibrations.
Yeah. So when we have a couple of sequences, specifically in the beginning of the movie, where it is from her perspective, and she doesn't hear anything. But I realized later, because I started trying to compare it in my head, Sound of Metal did it better. But then later in the movie, I think it's...
Is it in the train?
When they're either on the train or when they're on the island, she has been running, and it's completely quiet, but because it's in her body, you can hear her heart.
Yeah.
But only a little bit, because it's a vibration, it's not hearing, it's a vibration.
Because you can hear your own blood pumping in your ears.
I hear it all the time.
It's the same for deaf people, but it's more of a sensation than a noise.
Yes. Kind of like in Gravity, whenever there's an outside noise, you only hear it when they touch it.
Yeah.
In the movie. Anyway, so I was like, I like that they even worked to make that more realistic in this movie. Maybe inspired by A Sound of Metal, I don't know.
Maybe. And it's also because she has more solo scenes where it is more focused on exactly what she is hearing.
Yes.
Because a lot of time in the first one, she is with someone else, or she's out in the field and we get a wide shot of her. We don't get to see her up close and personal. So it's again more focused on her experience of it all in those scenes.
So, and the last thing I want to add about expanding and making this a better movie, I think both the writing and directing is stronger from John Krasinski in this one.
He's evolved basically. He knows what to do, and of course he knows the cast now. Even though there's some new people, he knows the core cast probably has a lot of the same people working in the background.
Probably, yeah.
Because it's easier that way. So he's probably more comfortable, and it shows.
Yeah, because like he's able to evolve all the characters, expand the story, the world, and the lore of the characters, if you will.
Also, he doesn't have to act as much in this one because he's only in a couple of scenes in the beginning.
That probably helped. Yeah,
he didn't have
That's
to. That's
probably why he killed himself in the first one.
Yeah, because it was okay.
We're making a sequel, and I want to be in it.
Because it's difficult, probably, to be the character and then be the director, and then the character and the director, especially if it's your first movie directing thing. Well, first couple of movies, yeah. I mean, sure. What's his name? Kill Bill director.
Quentin
Tarantino. He's in a lot of movies that he directs.
Yeah, but he's only in small roles.
Small roles, and he's probably used to it by now.
Oh yes.
Because he's done it so many times.
Yeah. So yeah, it's in my opinion, other than it's obviously being derivative because it's a sequel.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, I think it expands and improves on everything.
Yes.
From the first one. I
only have one thing I didn't understand.
Oh?
It felt like there was some sort of history between Emmett and Lee. From the way that Emily Blunt's character talks to Emmett, like, he would have known this, or he would have done this. It's like Emmett feels inferior to Lee somehow. Or something. I don't know, there's something... there's some sort of history there that we don't really get to know.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if that, they're not really like, I mean, they're friendly during the baseball game.
Yeah, they're friendly enough. There's nothing weird there. They're not like buddy, but they're friendly.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, maybe something got cut out. Maybe they had a longer flashback.
Yeah.
With more just pedestrian stuff going on.
It's like he saw what happened to Emmett's kids and he didn't do anything about it, or like he pulled him away from trying to save them to save him. I don't know. Yeah. Something happened.
Or maybe it's just that, you know, maybe because that's another thing. Lee seems to be kind of not like in an authoritarian way, but he's like a pillar of the community.
His brother works everyone. With the military.
Yeah. No, that's Emmett.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
It's Emmett's brother.
That's Emmett's brother, yeah.
But Lee, you know, he walks into a store and says, "Hey, Raj," or whatever.
Yeah, everyone knows
grabs
him.
Food. He knows the cop. He knows Emmett. He knows someone else. Some lady he talks to at the baseball game, or whatever it is. So maybe and I think
everyone's cool with him. Basically,
he's a mechanic.
He's dirty.
Yeah, they don't explain it in the first one, but here he has a truck, so he doesn't have a lift on it, but he has a truck, and he's grimy.
He's very dirty.
He's a mechanic, so people go to him for help.
Yeah, probably.
And from the first one, he's obviously crafty.
Yeah. So maybe he's a handyman or something that
maybe
everyone
that's the thing,
gets help from with anything.
And Emmett's just a guy, so maybe there's some not
jealousy?
Animosity, but kind of inferiority complex between them. So when dead Lee's family shows up, he's like, I can't help you. I'm not Lee.
You have the perfect husband. Why would you need my help? And I don't think. Did he even tell him that he's dead, or does he just know it because he's not there?
I think he figures it out.
Like, okay, you guys are running alone.
And then they do mention that
obviously not there anymore.
It was him. He was the fire who they saw in the first movie.
Yeah, because
you never came for us. It's just I couldn't. And also, like you said, he met other people.
Yeah.
There's no point in saving other people in this world.
And he had his wife to take care of who got sick. So, I mean, I don't blame him.
But that's all. We didn't mention that. Even his character, even though he's only in this movie, grows from being, drawn back, kind of given up because he's lost everything, to then actually helping Evelyn to find Reagan and bring her back. But then Reagan explaining to him, no, we can help people with this.
We can help everyone.
Yeah, deciding to then, all right, we'll do this.
We'll go. He even goes out to find a way so he doesn't have to, explore with Reagan, but he can just bring her to where she needs to be, basically.
Yeah. And then towards the very end, he even puts...
he sacrifices himself almost.
Yeah, well...
puts himself...
Spoilers.
I don't remember.
It's the big, I'll sacrifice myself for the greater good.
Yes.
And I like that, because that makes a person a real hero when they're willing to give up their life. But it's always extra good when they survive. Because he lives.
Yes,
his legs get fucked up, but he lives in the end.
Yes.
And I was like, yes!
Wow, that was loud.
That was loud. Sorry. Because then you can bring that character back.
Yeah.
That's always nice.
That's always nice.
Yeah.
So in a sense, I would like a third movie, but at the same time, I don't need one.
There's definitely no need. Because,
there's no need, because we know now.
Big spoiler. There's a radio tower on this island where they heard the song from. She puts her hearing aid up to the microphone and just cranks it up, and we see then, because you hit the on-air speaker.
Yeah, she knows.
And the entire house just becomes a big...
Yeah. So they know that it works.
Yeah.
Now
so
just other people will have to find that frequency on their radio to play her sound.
Yeah, and they can literally just
song.
flip the radio on and deter the monsters. So
we know that there's a fighting chance now.
Yeah.
Question is, what would the third one be? Would it be other people fighting, or would it be them going further into further away to show more people how to actually do it?
I'm guessing that's because I really hope they don't do it with other characters. Stick to these characters.
Yes.
But then you can't make more than 3 movies, because then the character arcs are done.
Yes.
They're kind of done already, so that's why I'm like, with the third one.
I mean, again, Marcus does have room to evolve even more.
Sure.
That is also the one thing that I found a bit annoying with this movie. It picks up just where the first one ended, but Marcus has aged.
Yes.
Millicent, I mean, obviously the actor has aged.
Yeah, because he's in an awkward, like...
teenage phase.
Yeah, what is it called? Målbrottet? Puberty.
Puberty, yeah.
Let's see actually how old he is. Because he looks like he was like 12 in the first movie.
Yeah.
2005. So in 2018, he was 13.
Yeah.
Filmed it when he was 12, yeah. So he was a child.
He was a 12-year-old. Now he's a...
2 years later, for a boy going from 12 to 14, huge change.
For a lot of boys, at least.
Yeah, for most boys.
He's a lot taller.
You can see he's even starting to get some definition, muscular definition. His voice,
yes,
when he screams, is obvious. His voice breaks all the time.
Yes,
so you can definitely tell that he in the flashback scenes is like, oh, he has Benjamin Button's disease, or
yeah. There's a bit. They couldn't really mask that.
No, and I'm almost glad they didn't try to do some like digital face thing.
No, that would have ruined everything.
So and with Millicent, you could definitely see that she's older, but I mean,
she was already enough.
She was already a teen when they filmed the first one, so you don't notice it as
she already looked grown up. She doesn't have to like go through puberty anymore.
But you could definitely see that she's 2 years older in this movie.
Yeah, sure.
She was lankier somehow.
A little bit, yeah. But they do play it off well with her, because they change her outfits to cover up more, so it doesn't like show her more feminine forms and stuff.
Yeah,
which is more difficult with the guy, I guess, because he doesn't have the forms to hide. It's the height and the voice.
Because she had the same length of hair.
Yes.
In the flashback as in the first movie, and in the second movie she has longer hair.
No, she cut her hair.
Oh, yeah, sorry, she cut
off the pigtails.
Right, she has longer hair in the beginning, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, because in the beginning, in the flashback and in the first movie, she still has her very curly, short hair, sort of, but she has long pigtails coming out of it.
Yeah.
But for the second movie, she's cut them off.
Yes.
Sometime in between when they start walking, I think.
Yeah.
Or if that's in the end of the first movie, I don't remember, actually.
No, I don't remember. It's over a year since I saw it, so I don't remember.
And it's also a hairstyle that's easy to recreate when you need to have her long pigtails back. It's not that difficult to fix. You can just put in extensions.
Yeah, exactly.
While a boy growing up and getting taller and his voice changing, that's difficult to hide.
It's harder to hide.
Can't really do much about it.
And then it was obvious also that they didn't want to do a digital face on the youngest kid, the one who dies in the beginning of the first one. And once again, going from it doesn't say when he was born, but he can't have been more than 5, 6 in the first movie. 5 probably. Yeah, so being 7 now.
You would have seen massive changes.
Yeah. So you could almost never see the youngest kid's face in the movie. No, you see him in, I think, it never talks.
One scene in the car, you can see him, but I'm not sure if it's the same actor, if they just chose someone that looks like him.
I don't know.
I didn't I didn't even look at his face because I was so distracted with everything happening around them.
Yeah, but that was funny. Like, you're doing a flashback, but it's 2 years after you shot the first movie. No.
Because obviously they didn't film the flashback scenes before the first movie. They only decided to do the second movie because the first one was such a success.
Yeah. But yeah,
overall, this movie is high up on my list of favorite movies at the moment.
Yeah. Like like I said, the first one has a higher Metascore. That's like an 80. Yeah. 86.
Something like that.
That's like high. That's like classic movie like levels of Metascore.
And it's definitely worth it.
I don't know if it's that.
Oh, yes it is.
I mean, I would put that at like a 7.
Oh no, I'm at like 9.
Maybe I
have no problems with the first one.
Okay.
I have no problems with the second one.
No, but that's what I'm saying. The second one I would rate higher than the first one.
I don't put them at the same.
Okay.
Because it's this. They're not. They're just. It's just a continuation of the first movie. It's just as good. It's just continuing. It's just more. It's just more of it. For me, at least.
Yeah, sure.
So I would put both of them at a 9, basically. And I never put high scores, because I'm always very modest with my scores.
Yeah.
Too modest, almost.
Oh, wait.
He isn't in the...
No, he is in the second one. Sorry, I didn't look that up. It's not the same. I was just looking for the name, right? So it's the different actor.
Yes, okay. But they chose a kid that looks a lot like him, and they chose not to show his face too much to be able to mask it as someone else.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, the first one has an 82 Metascore, and the second one has a 71, which is still like good. But I would almost flip that, but put them both in like the high 70s.
Maybe it needs more reviews. It's not done yet. I mean, sure. Quiet Place 2 came out a week ago.
Something like that. Let's see. The best it got was from IndieWire, Kate Erbland. She's fine.
And she said an 83.
Chops I gave it an 83, so that's the highest it got. As his chops as an action horror director have only increased, yes. Care of those natty set pieces and plenty of real ingenuity. Krasinski hasn't lost sight of the human drama and makes it all work. Krasinski never meant to be a horror guy, but he's always known what scares people.
Because it's not the horror in the movie, though.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
It's the character development again, and of course a bit of tenseness with the chase of all the monsters, and you know that you need to. Every single sound can bring on death and destruction.
Yeah, let's see here. Like the mixed reviews. See what they think it lacked from the first one. The Observer. To suggest Krasinski is only interested in surfer thrills feels at odds with the seriousness of his craft. Judicious pacing, clever cross-cutting, and visceral sound design build tension. But there's an absence of soul and no satisfying sense of what the monsters might be a metaphor for. But the monsters aren't a metaphor.
That's the thing, they're not a metaphor.
Since they're fast-moving monsters, they're just monsters.
Yeah.
Zombies, slow-moving zombies, are a metaphor for, like...
the destruction of humanity.
Yes, it's the loss of soul.
Yeah.
But here, the monsters are just a threat.
They're just a monster.
It's a threat that brings out the worst or the best in humans. You idiot!
You just need to survive, and if you want to survive as a good person or as a bad person, it's your choice.
Exactly.
That's the soul of it.
I don't know if I think we briefly touched on that when we did our zombie series in the beginning of the year.
Yes, definitely.
Go back to check that out on all the
platforms and
Patreon.
Patreon for the special episodes and the in-between episodes.
But then Vanity Fair, what the fuck? No movie? Yeah, all the movie magazines get... Oh, Empire. Here we go. Empire. I don't know the guy. 60. Whisper It. A Quiet Place Part 2 might lack the smarts and novelty of its predecessor.
But it's...
First of all, novelty? Do you want novelty in a movie like this? Like lightness of heart? No!
No, but does he mean novelty that way, or novelty as in the new stuff?
That could be it, like, ooh, something new.
But you don't need new when it's a sequel.
But that's what I mean. That's what I mean. It's
still a sequel.
Yeah, but I gave it less points because it is a sequel.
Sure.
But
you can't expect a completely different thing and lots of new stuff when it's a sequel.
Right. But let's see what it says. It lacks a smart and novelty of its predecessor, but it serves up strong set pieces. That's it. Millicent Simmons shines as and Krasinski remains a director watch. That's it. I think it says strong set pieces. Like I said, one of my favorite parts of the movie was Marcus becoming, letting go of his fear and becoming a man, basically. Stupid. Anyway, one more. Let's see, because it has one negative. Who gave it a negative? 38
from Chicago Tribune.
Katie Walsh. Let's see what she has to say.
I've heard her name before.
It sounds, or am I thinking of Katie Rife from
Maybe.
AV Club? I don't know. Whatever. I think I'm thinking of someone else. What's so maddening about A Quiet Place Part 2 is the unused potential. Okay. But then she says Krasinski opens up the world. Oh.
But doesn't utilize it.
Doesn't utilize in any meaningful way.
Yes, he does.
Introducing new ideas, but then jettisoning the opportunity. Again and again, he falls back on more of the same old tricks from A Quiet Place, which was a bore to begin. Oh,
okay, this
she
person
didn't even
is
like
just,
the first one.
She's just very... No, she doesn't count. Sorry,
she didn't like
Kate.
the first one.
You don't count.
Quiet Place.
Because...
Katie... Oh, hey. Okay, Katie Walsh. Let's see if we can find what she said about the first one. Whatever. Okay.
Whatever.
But she didn't even like the first one, so then I guess she didn't like the second.
Yeah, of course. If you don't like the first one, you're not gonna like the second one. Because it is, again, it's a continuation of the story, picks up right where the first one ended. It's not a bunch of new stuff that they're discovering. They have a goal. They've discovered one thing, and they're trying to do that. They're trying to get on with their lives while keeping on with the one piece of evidence or one piece of thing that they've found actually works.
Yeah. There's the last one from the Wrap. Give it a 78. This time the goals and stakes are more direct.
Yes.
Yeah, because they have a mission now. Or mission, whatever. A goal.
A goal.
And the overall lean storytelling, that's what I like. I like lean storytelling. Works in the film's favor, with each step from every character becoming an occasion for viewers to hold their breath in suspense.
Yes.
Yeah, but people seems to think it's only set pieces, but I think there's so much character growth in those. That's what makes it a good set piece. If it's exciting but also expands the characters and grows the characters, isn't that like perfect then?
Like the only character that's not really developed is Emma. What's her name? The mother.
Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt, because again, she grew a lot in the first movie.
Yeah, and this was.
She has her growth, her explosion in the end of the first movie. This is just her now focusing on keeping her family safe.
Yeah.
She doesn't have time or space to actually start doing other things and develop.
Yeah.
She's very focused on what she has to do because she has a newborn and 2 teenagers to take care of, or preteens, basically.
See if anyone gave it 100. No, didn't. The first one didn't get 100, but it did get a 90.
Yeah.
From the Hollywood Reporter, a terrifying thriller with a surprisingly warm heart.
Yeah.
John Krasinski's A Quiet Place is a monster movie allegory for parenting in a world gone very, very wrong.
Which it is.
Yes, it is.
And it's all it needs to be.
Yeah.
And I like it. Like we said in the beginning, it's a very original way of seeing what happens when the world ends, because we never see it from a family perspective like this.
Yeah.
We only see it either from like a bunch of teenagers trying to save the world, or you see it from like a single parent, mostly a single dad,
or someone who's like almost like a social outcast.
Yeah.
Like in not really, but in Love and Monsters.
Yeah.
He thinks he's a social outcast, but he really isn't.
No, but you have it's either the lone person or it's a group of teenagers, or maybe it's a single dad. Sometimes you never get this family dynamic and actually having settled and growing up in this world.
Yeah. So.
High up, I love this movie. I loved it so much.
I loved it a lot. Like I said, I almost loved it more than the first one. And I am cautiously optimistic for a third one. But like I said, call us. We'll help you with the writing.
Yes, definitely.
If anyone has any sort of like third-hand connection to John Krasinski,
tweet him. Something.
Tell him about us. We'll help him. We'll even do it for almost free.
I mean, just a credit. That would be fine. Just put our names on it.
Anyway.
Because I think we said the same in the end of the first one. We said, this doesn't need a sequel. This is perfect as is. You don't need a sequel.
Yeah.
Which, again, it didn't. Yeah. But I don't mind that it got a sequel.
So if history repeats itself, the next one is going to be
even
as
better.
Good or better, yeah. And we'll say, it's a perfect ending. It doesn't need a sequel. And then we'll make a fourth one. And it's like, it's really good. It's a perfect ending. It doesn't need... No.
But that's also a good thing with a perfect ending. Perfect ending is that you don't need a sequel, but you could have a sequel.
Yes, that's true.
That is the perfect ending.
Yeah. It's like John Wick. You didn't need a sequel after the first one, but goddamn, the sequels are good. Yeah.
Oof.
All right.
Yeah,
Should we
I think
wrap it up?
that's it for today.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching / listening. If you are listening, check us out on YouTube every Thursday, 6:30 Swedish time, whatever that is where you are.
Central European? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's Central European plus 1 hour, so I'll say it's Swedish time.
Yeah, something like. Google it.
Google it, yeah. Or if you're watching this,
thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching, but you can also listen to this whenever you feel like it. Over on Spotify or iTunes, iHeartRadio, all that stuff. Every major podcast platform.
Yes. Links are always in the description and on our socials.
Yes. And if you want to hear even more movie talk from us and get commentary tracks, get sneak previews at videos, get entire videos before everyone else, get to tell us what movies you talk about, check us out on Patreon. And subscribe for as little as $1 a month, but the $3 a month is probably the most
rewarding
because you get the extra podcast episodes, and you also get to listen to an unreleased podcast, as of now, called The Madness and the Method with me and Christopher from the Adam Sandler podcast. But either way, hit the subscribe button here on YouTube, hit the follow button on iTunes and everything.
Like us, 5-star ratings, all that good stuff.
Yes, help us grow in any way you can. And we'll see you in the next episode where I don't know what we're going to talk about.
I don't know what we're talking about.
But something.
We might have a plan, but we'll reveal that in the Monday episode after that, maybe. If we have it.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Once again, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.